Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy that we have this special episode of Talking Nachos. I'm Brandon Hill, the Director of Sales and Strategic Growth with Dental Nachos. I get excited when I do these because I get excited to kind of dig a little deeper into some of the resources and cool strategic people that we have here in the Dental Nachos community. So I'm really excited to introduce our guest, Ashley Best, the Director of Partnerships with the amazing Dental Intel Company. She knows all things Dental Intel. She is the Dental Intel Whisperer, and she is the practice whisperer in terms of making sure that practices are getting the best value from their Dental Intel software, which every time I turn around does so many new things. So one, Ashley, you just want to say hello to everybody and let them know why you're here.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. You set the bar really high, though. Just gonna go out and say that. No nicknames, no nicknames. You can call me the Whisperer, yeah. But to Brandon's point, yeah, thank you all for having me. And that's probably a good thing for us to do today is talk about utilization and how you can get more out of it, right? Because
Yep.
just I tell doctors all the time, it's like if you buy a gym membership and you go once over the course of the year, then you come tell me you didn't lose the weight you wanted to or hit those goals. I I
That
can't do.
is that is such a good analogy. I use gym analogies all the time. I think you've heard me use them a couple times, just even talking about our partnership.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that use dental intel, and there's always new practices coming up and new offices that are expanding, growing, looking to use analytics, and a lot of them are using dental intel. But what I found, and you tell me your experience might be different on the inside of dental intel, I find a lot of people using it for one, maybe two things, and it does so much more. So, if you're talking, and a lot of our audience that are listening right now are dental intel users, what are the key services that they should be using dental intel software for to make sure it's actually improving the bottom line at their practice?
Yeah, great question, Brandon. It does depend on if they're using us full scope or if they just have dental intelligence analytics. Some offices, I know most now have the whole kit and caboodle with us, right? Because it's
Right.
streamlined, it's consolidated. If that's the case, they all work together so seamlessly. It's amazing. For the offices that don't have the full suite with us and are kind of fragmenting things out, and you do have just that core dental intelligence analytics product that started many, many years ago, which I know so many have, there are a few key things in there that we do see offices using that's going to give you the most impact or return on your investment.
Right.
So I'll throw a few of those out and then I can kind of share my screen
Sure.
and how they can get additional training on that. Because you raise a really good point. We might have onboarded with 5 original members and now the office has grown. There's multiple
Right.
locations or staff turnover. Like let's not shy away from that. We know that's still happening. And so you've got a
Right.
whole new team or one big important new role at the practice and they might know how to not know how to use it to its fullest extent. So I love that piece too. But some of the things, I mean, the follow-ups is a really big piece in the analytics. If you're not using the automated follow-ups, turn those bad boys on. It is a way to stay organized. It's for the rest of us using things like Salesforce and HubSpot, I equate it to that, coming in,
Right.
knowing what your daily tasks are, and then bumping that next to that morning huddle. If your
I
team,
want, I want, I'm gonna jump in real quick here because
yeah,
we coming from the business world outside of the clinical office, you and I, we are used to a lot of things that, people in a clinical world may not be used to, and vice versa. Just like somebody who doesn't have a clinical background may not know what gutta percha is, right? So, or something like that. So,
yeah.
talk to about that. What does that mean when you say, it's like what HubSpot or Salesforce is for someone like you or I? What does that really mean to a dental office?
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's draw the linear there. So if you're using, I had an office last week that tells me they're using Google Docs and they're tracking. Like today, I'm going to call Brandon Hill because we presented him $5,000 worth of treatment last week, and he said, I gotta go see how I can pay for this. I gotta go
Right.
talk to the spouse. I gotta do this, that, or the other. And then Brandon falls through the cracks because
Right.
who's checking that spreadsheet? Was Ashley supposed to do that or Tommy? I don't know whose task that was. So for you and I, Brandon, if we go to a conference and we meet someone and we're like,
Right.
wow, they'd be a great partner, we put a little task for ourselves in
Right.
Salesforce or HubSpot and we follow up with them. But it's a reminder, right? And it's just like a busy practice. You're seeing 30, 50 patients a day. It is so hard to keep track of that snowball that keeps building up. Those unscheduled patients, unscheduled treatment. You had a ton of cancellations or no-shows for whatever reason, getting them back into the schedule. So those tasks can keep you you keep you organized for the day. You come in and you know exactly
Right.
what to focus on in an automated way because while a Google Doc is great and having a spreadsheet's nice, updating, somebody has to constantly update those real
Correct.
time. You have the correct version. Oh no, I have an outdated version. It
Or
always.
like me when they have 65 tabs open on their laptop with different spreadsheets and Google Docs, right? So I know what that's like. Trust
Or
me, I
that.
do.
No, or that. Just the power of the follow-ups. I was looking at an office. I had an office open the other day, and in the last 30 days, they've added $25,000 back into their schedule of unscheduled treatment. That's people that said, I can't say yes today, but follow up with me. When in reality, they're not. And so 25,000 in 30 days is a big number, right? And so I'll have offices that do a bonus system out of this. They'll give a percentage back. Hey, all the unscheduled treatment and unscheduled patients, get them back in, and we track the success. I can tell how many calls you've made, Brandon, and how much success you've had. Brandon, I'm going to give you a percentage of anything you add back in. That's a motivator, right?
Absolutely.
So bonus systems, and then kind of evolving those tasks and combining those in conjunction with that morning huddle. So many offices I talk to say, we used to do a morning huddle. We stopped because they were boring. They were monotonous. We just read the schedule to one another, which I'm sure many resonate with that. Our morning huddle is meant to show you, hey, here's who's coming in today, and here's how you can maximize the schedule today with the people right in front of you. So Brandon's coming in. Great. Brandon also is not scheduled for hygiene. He owes us $500 and he has 10 grand of unscheduled treatment. So maximize your time with Brandon today.
Right. It's so underrated because, one of the things that I think is very hard for people in a clinical setting, dentists, hygienists, assistants, even front desk people, is to understand that's a business and it has to make money, right? You're a healthcare provider. You do something very serious and very important for people's oral health and even overall health in many cases. But you have to be profitable. And the only way to be profitable is to close cases, right? In our world, we call that sales. In the dental office, that's called case acceptance, correct? So a lot of people shy away from some of the uncomfortable conversations that are required to have in order to get your case acceptance or your sales high. But this is where you come in, because the more you can systemize, the less uncomfortable those conversations have. Give me some examples. I mean, I'm sure you've talked to many dentists who are using these tools to the best of their ability. What feedback are they giving you?
The numbers don't lie. What I just told you, that seeing is believing, right? So going into the follow-up success and seeing, oh, wow, like my team, they are working. These teams are working. We just haven't had a great way of showing the success, right? For so long, I'm like, doc, I banged out 30 calls and I got 20 people to get scheduled or whatever the magic number is. It's like, great, good job. But when you can pull up that dashboard in Dental Intelligence and show the attempts, the success, my success rate, and that dollar amount, I mean, it's kind of,
it's amazing.
Shows
it's amazing.
It proves itself, the power of it. I love seeing those numbers. We get offices sending us proofs in all the time, and reading those as a team is so fun because it's just a great
feeling.
It is. It's actually, it's awesome. And I always say knowledge isn't power. The implementation of knowledge is power. So let's take the great data we're giving you. The stuff lives in your PMS. It's just not, no one's pulling it, right? They're pulling production collection, new patient numbers, and AR. Maybe.
Right.
And so everything else that can help them run the business, to your point, it's a business. We need to be profitable successfully. In my opinion, is a win. So being able to see those tangible numbers is kind of
now. Did you have some things you wanted to show me or show the audience?
I did. Yeah. When you mentioned earlier, how can practices start to, if they have turnover, if they have new teammates coming on, how can they maximize what they have with us? We have a few things that I've heard recently. Folks might not know about. Training webinars on demand, I think, is a big one, starting there. I feel like lots of companies think they do training videos very well. And I've seen some awful ones in my day. Believe me when I say these are great. We have a great marketing team that has put together some amazing content, and our team is they're second to none when it comes to these. And I'll say that because I was a partner on the other side of this fence for a long time, helping offices. And now that I'm in here, it's I say it from both sides of that fence, not just because I work here, but coming to our training webinars on demand, whether that be an engagement, analytics, maybe you have local med with us, and just doing some reconnection with
these. And it looks like they're not that long. It's like they're only 20 to 30 minutes long. So this is not 2 hours of time of somebody watching a webinar.
It could be if they watch all of them at once, but
if they watch all at once.
One bite at a time, right? So let's dive in. And they do have them broken out to make it more logical. So you and I talked about the morning huddle earlier. You need morning huddle training, just watch that specific one. You mentioned case acceptance, Brandon. Watch what's applicable. I don't think you need all of them. And then two, we have another one that's getting the most out of the analytics module, because that's the one that, we're pulling everything but x-rays from PMS. So being able to jump in here and get the most out of that piece. And then we do have another resource that's daily, weekly, and monthly workflows. And it kind of builds it out. Hey, here's our recommended action, and here's the resource you would use in one of the software pieces. So I think between these three things, which you've promised me we'll link out so no one has to guess how to find these, but for our existing users, just maximizing, there's so much that it can do. And I'm also not a fan of focusing on everything, because then nothing gets focused on. So seeing where you need the most help in your practice, and if that is case acceptance, you really feel like that's lacking, we've got workflows there, so on and so forth. There's a little bit for everyone, I believe.
Sure. And we will share the links when you see this recording posted in the Facebook group. We'll share the links to this so you can have easy access. This is awesome, actually. So I'm not going to keep you too long. I know you have a lot of work to do, a lot of dental offices to improve. So what's something that, you want to leave the audience with? And if someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So reaching out to me is super simple. abest@dentalintel.com. abest@dentalintel.com. That's a simple one. But really, I think the last thing I'll leave with is taking, if you have everything, a lot of offices do, they have everything under the sun, watching those trainings and figuring out how those workflows can work together, I think is going to be a big one. If you were at our IntelliCon event, you saw us make an announcement called Better Together, where things are going to be streamlined into one dashboard here soon. So prepare for that. And if you're not, just understanding the workflows that we can take the place of, and get rid of manual, outdated tasks. I mean, automation, it's 2024, automate your practice, save time on the back end so that you can spend time in office and be face-to-face and truly present with your patient.
Yes.
The worst thing is that, Brandon, you come in for your appointment, I can't even give you any time because I'm doing all these other tasks. Let the automation take over. It's not, we're not, I hear these phrases like, oh, the office is going to turn, it's a bunch of robots. No, that's not what we have to do. We're just trying to make it so that Brandon doesn't have to show up 15 minutes for his appointment to fill out his forms by hand. And so think how that impacts the patient experience too. It's a trickle down effect. We're helping the office, and that's truly our mission. It's to make it more rewarding to be a dental professional and easier to be a dental patient. And when you can do both of those, you're winning, in my opinion.
Listen, thank you so much for this, Ashley. Time is money, as Ashley has been explaining throughout this. Understand the value of your time, understand the value of your team and your office's time. And if you can save time, you'll actually save money or make money, and you'll give a better experience to your patients, which is also going to make you money. All right. So thank you for being an awesome sponsor of Dental Nachos, for supporting our community in so many different ways, and just being a great voice for just the advancements of technology and systems in dentistry, and for also being accessible to our audience. So abest@dentalintel.com. You can also find her in the Facebook group. You can also reach out to me. You find me obviously in the Facebook group, but also it's Brandon@dentalnachos.com. And in case you're not sure, I spell Brandon BRANDEN @dentalnachos.com. So thank you so much. And we will catch you all again on our next episode of Talking Nachos.
Thanks, Brandon.